Hi, and welcome to today's class. My name is Manisha. Today we are going to work on a restorative hip sequence to just loosen up through the hips and relax into our postures today. So it'll be relatively quick. If you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. So I want you to come onto your mat and have some blocks real handy. So we'll have two blocks today for our class, just placing them close by to your mat, coming into a comfortable seat. We'll draw the eyes to close. And just take a moment here to settle into your space, settle into your own space on your mat. Soften into your breathing and gently starting to initiate your deep ujjayi breathing through the nose. We'll take one deep breath together. Inhale through the nose. Open the mouth. Let it go. Gently start to blink the eyes open. Coming into a comfortable seat here, we'll start with butterfly pose, Baddha Konasana. So we'll come into a comfortable seat with the feet. So you can draw the feet real close in towards your pelvic region here, or you can keep them further away, your choice. So whatever feels like a comfortable space for you. We'll inhale nice and tall. And as you exhale, walk the palms forward, lower the head down. And just relax into this for a few breaths. And you can gently just think about the knees lowering down towards the mat. So they might not actually lower down. And we're not adding any force here through the hands or the fingers, but we're just allowing the thought of lowering the knees down towards the mat. And that in itself will allow the hips to open just a little bit more. Again, tuning into your breath, working on that deep ujjayi breathing through the nose. And take one more deep breath. And gently start to walk it back in. And then we're going to come onto all fours here. Just give the hips a little shake side to side. And then we'll push into our palms, tuck the toes under, make our way into our down dog. So just pedaling it out here. Bend one knee, send the opposite heel down. Take your time here. And then when you're ready, pushing down into both heels. Take a check at your fingers. Make sure they're spread nice and wide. And we'll hold our down dog for a few deep breaths. So fingers spread nice and wide, pushing down into the fingers, the palms. Heels releasing down towards the mat here. 2 more deep breaths. Doing great. And then from here, we're going to add on. So float that right leg high. Bend the knee. Open up through that hip. Inhale. Exhale. Place that foot down between the palms, lowering down into pigeon pose. So we're going to scoot that right foot out towards the left side of the mat. And then from here, we're going to walk the palms onto either side. Open up through the chest, deep breath in. And then making our way down, if you can, lowering down through the head. So a couple of options here with the head and with the upper body. So if you can lower the forehead down all the way into your mat. If that's not quite accessible to you today, you can use one of your blocks and place it underneath your head. So whatever height you need. If you need it super high, you can do that. If you want to lower down a little bit lower, you can do that. If you don't need the block or you don't want the block today, you can take the block and remove it to the side and just keep your forehead down onto the mat. So really whatever feels good to you today, but we're going to be here a while. So I want you to feel nice and relaxed. So whatever feels good. Soften into your hips, the shoulders. And see if you're leaning into one hip or the other. See if you can draw the weight back into both sides, so staying nice and even through both hips. Taking a few more deep breaths. You're doing great. Keep it up. And we're going to slowly start to make our way back up. Drawing the palms back in. Take a breath, open, nice and open through the chest. And then we're going to slowly start to peel that right foot back. Send it back into your three-legged dog. Open up through that hip again. And we're going to just take little circles through that right hip joint. And then go ahead and release it down. Separate the feet nice and wide, so the width of your mat if you can, and then sway the hips side to side. Release that tension through the hips. Notice the difference between the right hip and the left now. You might feel a little bit more open through that right side. Good. And then from here, walk those feet back in towards the center. We're going to switch sides. Left leg rises. Bend the knee, open up through that hip. Take a breath. And then drawing that foot forward, place it down, low lunge. Releasing down into that back knee, making your way, pigeon pose. So again, walking the palms in towards either side. Take a breath here, open up through the chest. And then coming forward, lower down onto our shoulders, our forehead, if you can. If you need to use the block, you can. Lowering the forehead down. So again, relaxing the forehead wherever it feels good. So you want your forehead touching something, right? So you don't want your forehead floating. That's not going to allow you to release fully into your hips. The emphasis in this restorative pigeon pose is in the hips. So you want to release everything down into the hips. So the forehead releases down into the block, or the forehead releases down into your mat, your choice. Few deep breaths. And again, easing our way into our ujjayi, breathing in and out through the nose. You're doing great. Again, centering through the hips so you're not shifting the weight into one side or the other. You're staying nice and even through both sides. Okay, a few more deep breaths. And we'll take one more deep breath here. And slowly start to peel our way back up. Unraveling here, sending that left foot up and back, three-legged dog. Bend that knee, open up through that hip, and then making those little circles here through that left hip joint, just opening up a little bit more. And then releasing it down. Separate the feet nice and wide again. Shake it out side to side. And then release the knees down. Separate the feet. Draw the feet together, and then lower the forehead down onto your mat. So we'll come into child's pose. Let everything go here. Releasing down and back through the hips. Letting the forehead go. Relaxing all the way down. So sending the hips down and back. You're doing great. Keep breathing. Couple of breaths. And gently start to walk it back in. And then we're going to come forward. And we're going to make our way down onto our backs. So releasing down any way you want to get there is fine. We're coming into happy baby pose. So bending the knees, grabbing onto the outsides of the feet if you can. Flex the toes. Draw the knees in towards your armpits. You could stay still. You could rock side to side. Your choice. Couple of deep breaths here. Okay, one more time each side. And then hold it here. Inhale. Exhaling, draw the knees in, give yourself a hug, rock side to side. Okay, from here we're gonna grab onto our blocks. So we're gonna need those blocks. We're gonna peel our way back onto our back, coming into Supta Baddha Konasana. So just like we did butterfly pose before, except now the knees come out to the sides and we're laying all the way down onto our backs, right? So we can stay here, or if we want to add on a little bit more restoration into the hips, we're going to take the blocks and draw them underneath our knees. So what this does is it allows the knees to fully relax down, just like we did with our other poses, releasing some of the tension into the block below, and then allowing that hip joint to fully open. So you'll feel the pelvis opening a little bit more here, the hip joints opening a lot more here. Palms can rest to the thighs, palms can rest on the belly, palms can rest out towards the sides, your choice. And a couple of options too with the block, just to help you here. If this height is a little bit too low for your hips and your knees today, you can rotate the block to make it a little bit higher. You can draw the block up to this height if you really need to, if you have tight hips today. So whatever height works for you today is fine. But you want the sides of your knees, the sides of your thighs to touch into the block. So just letting everything fall heavy into that block, right? Letting the block take the weight of the sides of the thighs, the sides of the knees, the sides of the legs. Closing the eyes if that feels good. Again, tuning back into your deep ujjayi breathing through the nose. And now you can really feel the ujjayi breath. So as you inhale, the belly rises. As you exhale, the belly lowers. Allowing for that nice, smooth transition between the inhales and exhales. And see if you're holding on to any tightness or tension within the hips or the knees, and see if you can just release that a little bit more. So just really, truly letting the weight fall into the block below. The block is there to support you. Just a few more deep breaths here. Take 3 more deep breaths. And we'll slowly start to draw the knees back in towards the center. Taking the blocks, place them to the sides. Give yourself a nice squeeze, rock side to side. And we'll take some twists here, draw the palms to either side, rotate the palms face up. We'll keep the knees together, inhale. Exhale, lower the knees over to your left side, switch the gaze to your right. You could keep the palms, the left palm where it is, or you could draw it to the top of that right thigh. Just resting there, deepening the stretch just slightly. So you're not pushing down with that left palm, you're just letting it rest. Again, closing the eyes. Softening into this pose here, softening into your hips. We'll take one more breath. And then gently unravel here, coming back to the center. Switching sides up and over. Releasing the knees to your right side, switching the gaze to the left, closing the eyes if you want to. Again, that right palm this time can face down into that left outer thigh. Relaxing a little bit deeper into your hip joints. We'll take one more deep breath. And we'll slowly start to make our way back into the center. Give yourself a nice squeeze, rock side to side. And then from here, we'll come into a tight ball, grab onto the outsides of your feet, tuck the chin, squeeze nice and tight, and then let everything go, coming into Shavasana. Feet come nice and wide. Palms come to either side. Rotate the palms to face up. Closing the eyes here. So we did a lot of restorative hip release work today. So just let those hips fall. Let those hips release down into your mat. Taking a moment here for yourself to relax down into the mat, everything releasing, everything lowering down into the mat. We'll gently start to blink the eyes open. Roll onto your left side, rest here for a moment. And then peel your way back up. Come into a comfortable seat. Drawing the palms to face down onto the knees, closing the eyes here. We're coming right back to where we started. Taking a check back into the mind, the body. Notice how you're feeling now compared to when we first started. And take one deep breath together. Inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, let it go. Gently blink the eyes open. So I hope that helped you release a little bit more through your hips today. I hope you're feeling nice and relaxed. Thank you for joining me today. Again, my name is Manisha. Be well.